It's time now for Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild. Stay up to date with your team all season long with Call of the Wild. With head coach and GM Bliss Littler, here's the voice of your Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. I'm Arch Ecker alongside Wenatchee Wild head coach and GM Bliss Littler. The Wild just getting back from a 3-game road trip up into Canada and heading home for 2 big games this weekend at Town Toyota Center. We'll take a look back at the games that were played on the road and what to expect as the Wild head back home to kick off the final month of the regular season. The trip started off last Wednesday with a trip up into Langley, and that's a team we hadn't seen in quite a while, but the Langley Rivermen have been playing extremely well of late, and they've really made a push, and we knew when we went in there what we were getting into because, like I said, I mean, everybody can see the standings, you see what's going on. But and it ended up, it was a great game to start, but things kind of started to get away from us a little bit, and it was a slippery slope, and the landslide began.
Yeah, I think so. There's not much that you take away that we liked. Again, give Langley credit for that, and they outplayed us, outcoached us. They're better than us at everything that night, and it's, I think that's one of the you look at the tape and talk to the kids about a few things, and then you kind of flush that one and you move right on.
You know, it's a 58-game season, and you're going to have a couple of those along the way. And like you said, it's a matter of learning from it, but not dwelling on it.
No, again, we it's easy to make excuses, and some are absolutely legit, but it's just best to look at it and hey guys, they wanted a little more than we did, and the guys that we had competing against, the guys they had competing, they outcompeted us and outcoached us, and it's just like one of those things that you play 58 regular season games. Got to remember the other team. This isn't WWE. That they put their skates on the same way. They want scholarships, and when you don't show up with your A game, you show up with a C game, and they show up with an A game, you get your butt kicked. So again, we'll learn from it. We'll move on.
So with the following day, a travel day, 2 ferry rides all the way up into Powell River. And we got up in there, and the guys responded very well. Came out with an extremely strong push to begin that game.
We were no doubt the first, I don't know how many minutes we got off to a really good start. We just didn't finish. That when we got done with the game, obviously the outcome we weren't real happy with. But again, you're going into one of the tougher buildings in the league to play, and we made a couple mistakes, and next thing you know, I mean, it happened quickly. It happened quick. We're down 3-0. We get done with the period, and we start thinking about the chances that we gave up. We felt we outplayed them in the first, and we're on the scoreboard. We're down 3-0. But I guess that's another one that you get done with, and you look at, and you say, we didn't get the result we want, but in no shape or form was that a step backwards. That we played with a very, very depleted group all weekend. Our kids played their tails off. That we just didn't score. Sometimes in this game, goaltender is the number one star, and I believe on Wednesday night, was their goalie the number one star that night? And,
he may have been.
And definitely Friday night, he was the number one star. So goalie was the difference there. That I thought we did a lot of really good things, and we just had to figure out a way to quit shooting ourselves in the foot, get off to a little bit better start.
Well, puck possession and pressure certainly not in short order. You guys had plenty of that. But one of the things that you took and applied in that game, we talk about lessons learned over the course of a season, and this team is a team that really has no panic in them. They get down 3-0, and sure, nobody wants to play from behind, but this team, they don't panic, they don't quit, and they methodically just stick to the plan and go about it, and they started to battle back in and clawed back to within a goal.
Yeah, Arch, I don't think until they got the 4th goal, and you could just tell that we got to about the 8-minute mark, and with only playing 3 lines, you could see that there wasn't much gas left, and But we felt that we controlled a lot of the pace of the play, and the chances were definitely probably in our favor. Well, again, at least how we track stats, what a chance is. And again, that's no doubt Paul River. They're easily one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the league. That it's same thing. It's one of the tougher places to play. That travel is horrendous going up there. Again, not happy with the result, but definitely it was not a step back. That we played awful good hockey there.
Yeah, they're a team that certainly has, as you go up and down their roster, they're pretty loaded and pretty stacked, and they're right now the number 2 seed in the Island Division, but they're pretty clearly, as you said, one of the elite programs in the BCHL as far as the skill product that's on the ice.
For sure. And again, that's year after year. You just check that out. That they put a good product on the ice. It's a tough place to play. They're so far away from everybody else. It's hard to get there. Huge advantage, huge home ice advantage. It's boy, 2 ferry rides, and I was pleased with how hard our kids competed. That you say that. But they have to go on the road too, and when they go on the road, they have that same kind of travel that teams have getting in there. So sometimes I feel that teams that have real difficult travel, as long as they stay healthy, when they learn to win on the road, when they learn that, and having to go through, I guess, all the adversity that you have with the amount of time it takes to get places, the amount of time you spend on the bus. I think in the end, when you get to the playoffs, it can, as long as you're healthy and fatigue hasn't set in, I think it turns into a big advantage that you've been through a lot of those battles on the road, and I think it comes to help you. So I know that if we're fortunate and we got up there again, that again I liked how we were able to get in there and compete for 60 again. We not happy with the result, but it definitely wasn't a step backwards.
The following night, you turn around and more travel because we had to check out of the hotel to buzz down into play at Cowichan Valley, and all the excuses were already tailor-made if you wanted to use them. You played in Langley, had the travel, you played in Powell River, you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you go down to Cowichan. All of that, it was all laid out there, and it would have been perfectly excusable to kind of to limp through it and say, hey, we're going to be home next weekend. But somehow this team was able to dig deeper and find a gear against all odds, really, and to come out and play against a fired-up Cowichan Valley team that really gave us a heck of a battle. Now, the 5-0 final that the Wild won by wasn't really indicative of how hard Cowichan fought in that game.
No, and again, they knew coming in. They knew that we were coming in there, going to be very road weary. I'm sure that their coach, he's a veteran. I'm sure he'd been checking and watching video of us, knowing that we've been playing with 3 lines for the last 4 games. That on their side is, if they were going to beat us, that was a night to do it. That excuse me, there's a lot of things going there in their favor. We knew that how they stack up against us, that they don't want to get in a track meet going up and down the ice. That they're going to come out and try run us through the boards, try run us right out of their building, and they threw 25 checks in the first period. I mean, and so they played just what their coach wanted them to do. That again, they're not going to try getting a skill game moving up and down the ice, and they're going to try run you out of the building. They're going to dump every puck and then run after your D, and our forwards touch the puck. No matter what, they're going to get hit, and it's not a bad plan. It's not sustainable for 60 minutes. Nobody can play that way all game, and it's very fatiguing playing that way. And when you play that way, you also take penalties. And when you take penalties, you go on the penalty kill and you kill your defenseman's legs, and it wears you down. So again, I was really proud of our guys. We hung in there, we battled. First period, they had a lot of emotion. Again, I think we beat them 6-0 in our building, and They showed some frustration. They had one of their kids get a 4-game suspension after the game here. So no doubt they're fired up. They wanted to redeem themselves, and I thought they had a good plan in the first period, and it was a tight hockey game. Even though the second period I thought was very one-sided. I thought we controlled the play. I don't remember. I don't think we gave up many shots, did we?
No, overall 20 in the whole game.
20 in the
second period was only 3 shots.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The third one came in the last second.
Yeah, I was going to say that in the first period, I think they had 12 shots. I think they outshot us, and then the last 2 periods, really, we didn't give up much. So I really give our kids credit that you play 3 games, 4 days, all on the road, all that travel with 3 lines. I give our kids credit. I was happy, and defensively, we played well. Our goaltender played well. Overall, I thought that was a step forward. Now we come back, and Brian Williams comes back this week, and it looks like Troy Constable will be back, and at least close to, won't be 100%, but I think it'll be the first time since the end of December that we've had all 22 players that are healthy enough to play a game. So that's great news for us getting off the bus here, and when you show up to practice on Tuesday, that it looks like we're going to have everybody's going to be available, whether we're 100% or not. I haven't gotten a report from Drew today, but we're getting closer to being healthy, and again, we know that when we're healthy that we feel that we're a pretty tough out.
One of the key elements on Saturday's game against Cowichan Valley was the effectiveness of your penalty kill, who had struggled the 2 games prior in allowing 3 power play goals against and 6 kills. But a perfect outing on Saturday, and more notably a couple of 5-on-3 kills. And early on, with a 1-0 lead, their first 5-on-3 power play, a huge leg pad save by Anthony Amnitsky on a crossing pass to the back door. He had to cover some ground. He got there, and that save alone seemed to set a little bit of a tone.
I think so. Arch, I think so. That kids always get fired up when a goalie saves them, when he makes a big save. That that one there, that was almost a tap-in. I mean, that was almost a tap-in, and for Yammer to get all the way across to make that save, put a little more life into the box. Boys got up on the bench, were cheering. We ended up blocking another shot, and we killed that thing off. And I think from that point on, the energy that created, knowing that, hey, we got our goalies on tonight, and I think from that point on, I think we carried most of the play.
The second half of the season, it seems that many teams have kind of arrived at the same conclusion, where they're trying to dominate physically, trying to increase the physical contact, like you said, throwing a lot of checks early and trying to wear us down that way. And your team has learned and gained confidence from understanding that they can weather that storm, stick to our game plan, and like you said, it's not sustainable, so in the end, it ends up working out okay, and that can only lead to better things.
Well, you can do that when we're playing 3 lines. when you're undermanned, I think that's has more success. When we're able to play 4 lines, keep our speed up, I think that's a much more difficult task for the other team, where we can keep pucks in. But yeah, we've seen teams from outside of our division, and a lot of teams from outside the division, that's their plan. They don't play us very often, and I think when you see Chilliwack, teams other than Langley, they're about the only one that generally that's just how they play. That's their coach's mentality, that he likes it rough, and that's how they play. But everybody else, I think they've kind of figured out that our kids are pretty tough, and that we can weather that, and that we can dish it out too, and that and you get real dirty. You take penalties. We go in the power play, and we scored the most power play goals in the league, and that generally settles people down pretty quick.
So we're done with the Island Division for this season, at least for as far as the regular season is concerned. You've had great success against the Island Division this year with a record of 8-1-2. Last year you had great success against the Island Division as well, think it was 5-2, 3-2 or something. We had 2 ties last year. But so overall, you've had great success against them. Do you find that division plays a style that's a little different from the other two? If each division had its own kind of characteristic, is there something about the Island division that makes them a little different?
I think the thing that happens is when we play teams that are outside our division, they get this thinking that we're going to run them outside, run them out of the building, and it doesn't. For the most part, it doesn't work that well. And I think they play a different style against us. When I watch them on tape, they seem to get up and down the ice and make all kinds of plays. And against us, a lot of teams, I think, change their style. And I'm not sure. I guess I really wasn't aware of that, because when you're playing that other division, usually you play them in 2s or in 3s. And then you seem not to play them for quite a while, and you kind of forget about them. And it also could just be that we played pretty well against them.
Well, out-of-division games for the Wild this year have been pretty good. 16-3-2 overall out of division, so it's not too shabby. Interestingly, last year, the interior division gave us a little bit of fits. This year, it's kind of the script has flipped a little bit. We've had some good success early on. Interestingly, across the board, all time now against the interior division, our record 11 wins, 11 losses, 1 overtime loss, 1 tie. 11-11, 1-1. And we have 3 interior games coming up in the not too distant future. And it's going to be a tough row to hoe with Penticton, Vernon, and Trail. It's basically the top 3 teams in that division.
Well, they're all playing well too. We know that Vernon will be a very physical battle. Again, that's how their coach plays. He likes to say, we've got to take some skin off them. That's a good one that Ferner, he likes to say that. We took some skin off them. But they do. They play a real physical style of hockey. Had a good game with them here. A good game in the showcase. I always look forward to playing them. Again, one of the more well coached teams in the league. And then we have Penticton. You don't have to say much about Penticton. I know that we have the fan bus going up to watch Penticton and Trail. Again, I think those 3 games up there, there's a whole bunch of meaning, and obviously Trail's playing as well as any team in the league right now, and they've been really good at home. So I think what a great challenge that we have coming up before the playoffs to kind of put us in playoff mode, where I can't think of a better situation with those 3 games than having the 4 games with Langley, who's a huge rival of ours. That definitely should get us into battle mode and ready for the playoffs.
That's right. And this weekend, the Surrey Eagles are coming to town. We'll talk about that when we return. Call of the Wild continues shortly here on your Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network. Welcome back once again to Call of the Wild. It's your weekly Wenatchee Wild Coaches Show. Arch Ecker alongside Bliss Littler. And we're talking about this weekend's coming up series against the Surrey Eagles, as the Wild will play 4 of their remaining 10 games this season here on home ice. This is a building that's been very friendly to Wenatchee this season, as they've not lost a game in regulation here, now dating back to more than a calendar year. It was January 23rd of 2016 the last time that the Wild lost a game in regulation here at home. But Surrey has proven to be an opponent that can rise up and bite anyone, as is anyone in this league, really. They're in 5th place right now. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and they gave the Wild a little bit of a good push last time they were here. So it sets up for a great weekend. And we've got some promotions to talk about too, but let's talk about the games on the ice first of all.
Well, again, we have 10 games left that we're battling for home ice. We need to keep collecting points. Surrey, they're battling to make the playoffs. It doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs in this division, but they have a chance with the new playoff format. If they finish ahead of the 6th place team in the interior division, they take that spot. So I think they're 3 points back there. So they're fighting and clawing for every point they can get. So again, it's not like you look at their record and you think they're just going to mail it in. They're fighting to make the playoffs right now. That try to put the last couple of years in the rearview mirror and making the playoffs for them, I think, would be something that they'd hang their hat on and say they had a successful season. So with us, we got to forget about who we're playing, and we need to play our style of hockey. If we do that, good discipline, and you know what, I think things will go our way. But if we don't stay disciplined to how we need to play, anything can happen.
Well, Surrey's an organization that's not that far removed from great success on the ice. They were champions not very long ago.
No, that again, people in Wenatchee have no idea that you look at the hard times they've fallen on, the hard times that Coquitlam they've fallen on. You'd never know in the last 5 years those guys have skated the trophy off the ice. That again, in junior hockey, it kind of it goes in cycles sometimes, and it looks like they're definitely on the upswing right now, and definitely getting better. And in this league, if you're not ready, you don't have your A game. Anybody can beat anybody, and I think that's what makes the BCHL a great league.
To evaluate and understand the opponent, when Surrey is doing well, what is it that they're doing right that makes that team successful?
They need to have good goaltending, and their special teams have to be very good. If they have good goaltending, good special teams, they're going to be right there with anybody on any given night.
It's going to set up for a great weekend, a lot of fun here at the Town Toyota Center. Starting off on Friday night with Faith and Family Night, we've got group tickets. You buy a group of 25 or more, and it's $3 tickets. So that's a great promotion to hopefully invite a lot of folks to come out to the stands and enjoy the games. And, you know, that just sets up an atmosphere in this building that's pretty electric.
Yeah, that's as cheap as you're going to get a ticket all year. Again, I know that the sales team, they've done a great job. That we're expecting big crowds both nights.
Saturday night, we've got a free poster giveaway, and after the game, the players will stick around and they'll sign autographs on those posters. Plus, it's Pucks and Paws night, which means you can bring your dog to the game. Lap dogs are $3, larger breeds are $5. That money goes directly to the Humane Society. The night is sponsored by Cascade Veterinary, but helping out the Humane Society, that's a big thing. And you know a thing or two about little puppy dogs, don't you?
You know what a great event. There's also a wiener dog race, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a dog race that I saw Tri-City and the USHL do it, and I think it was trending. I mean, it got so many hits that it looks like a fun thing to do, and who doesn't love their dog? I mean,
they're part of the family.
Yeah, bring the dog out.
Let
them race, Arch. I might have to step out of locker room and see the dog race.
Yeah, Clarky, you got this one. I'm going to go watch the dogs.
Yeah.
Whole place is going to the dogs, and that's Saturday night. So the Surrey Eagles will be here for a pair, and you'll be able to catch the games here live. If you're out of town and you can't make it, you can flip the game on the radio or watch on hockeytv.com. So we look forward to having you join us however you choose to do so. Thanks for tuning in this week, and we'll talk to you next time. With Call of the Wild, I'm Arch Ecker, and this is Bliss Littler. Have a great day, everybody.
You've been listening to Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild, a presentation of the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.